Hi YouTube. Today's handy kitchen gadget is my electric food slicer. And at first glance you might think to yourself that it's kind of a frivolous item to have, but truly it is not. The first one I purchased was, and I'll show you the different aspects of it a little bit after I talk about it. The first one I purchased was a refurbished Waring, and I bought it on eBay. It was about $60. It was absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, there was a gasket behind the removable blade that I took off to clean once, and my son, in putting it back on, did heaven knows what and ended up breaking it. I went online to find a replacement part, and they were only $15. The catch was they were discontinued. You couldn't buy them anywhere for any price. So I ended up giving that one to a friend and went online and looked around and decided to buy this one. This is a Chef's Choice 610. I bought it new, and I know I paid around $100 for it. I was just online looking, and it looks like this model now goes for about $130 new. But they have a newer model, the 609, which is around $100. Anyway, you know, at first I wasn't sure if this was a frivolous purchase or not, but I can't imagine living without one now. This stays on my counter next to my sink all the time. I use it for slicing vegetables, whether it's a bunch of vegetables to dehydrate, and of course the plus there is that you can get uniform slices, uniform thickness, so that it dehydrates better. Or you could slice just, you know, one onion for dinner or something. And you can slice things super, super wafer thin, or you can go to a thicker cut. I think it goes up to about 1.5 inches. I'll show you in a minute. You can also slice your homemade bread nice and evenly, which is good if you want to make sandwiches out of it. I mean, normally I don't sweat too much how my bread is sliced, but when I'm doing sandwiches I do like it a little more even. You also don't have to worry about having the right knife or crushing the bread or anything like that. And don't be nervous about it. Yes, it's sharp, and yes, you have to be careful, but they really are pretty safe. I'll show you some of the features. Both of them that I had came with a cutting guard, so you put whatever you're cutting on the slicer. Oops, I have my tray off. This tray locks on, and the reason it unlocks is so that you can remove it for cleaning, and that really is helpful. My other one did not have that feature. So anyway, you would put your item on, you use your guard to hold it in place, and then you push across to do your slicing. As I said, this is removable, which is kind of nice. It's not necessary, but it is nice, especially if you're cutting something that's really messy. You can also buy, I mean, it really will save you money. You could buy a whole boneless ham and slice it to your liking for sandwiches instead of buying cold cuts already cut. You can slice blocks of cheese. You can slice, you know, do a fresh turkey roast and slice it instead of deli meat. You can buy a whole pork loin and slice it into chops as thick or as thin as you would like. I just love it. I absolutely would not live without one now. If I'm doing dehydrating, you know, there's a lot of slicing involved. And even with the electric, it's a lot of work, but it just makes it go so much faster. Alright, I'm going to come over here now and show you some of the features, as it were. I guess I have to come to the back to show you. This particular one has a dial to adjust the thickness of the cut. the Waring had a lever, and they were both adequate, but I find the dial to be much easier to adjust the thickness that I want. I'm going to see if I can show you. So it expands. I don't know if you can see that. Can't tell what you're looking at. Alright, that's not a very good angle, I guess. There we go. Okay. That's the thickest slice, and that's, I think, probably about 1.5 inches. And then it adjusts thinner as you go. The start button is on top. The Waring had the start button down here more by the casing, and I think that might have been a little bit safer, to be honest with you, because it was further away from the blade. But I just make sure with this one to use one finger and keep all the others out of the way. Now the blade is removable. This particular model has a plastic, I don't know what you call that thing, but giant screw. The Waring had a metal one, and I find the metal much better. We've already had trouble with this stripping out a little bit, trying to get it off. You go counter to what you would normally do. So to loosen it, you turn right, and to tighten it, you turn left. And even if you go the right way, it's because of the plastic, you use a spoon or something and it tends to sort of not want to cooperate very well. But other than that, it cleans very easily. Wipes off very nicely. This model has a crumb tray that you can put out the back to catch whatever it is that you're slicing. And I just, as I said, I'm in love with it. I'll never be without one again. I was going to show you my slicing something, but you're either going to see the front or you're going to see it coming out the back. And I'll do it out the back, I guess, so you can see what's coming out. I'm going to start with a fairly thin slice. I'm using an apple. Okay, you can see how nice and thin that is. And now I'm going to crank it up. And there's some thicker slices. Anyway, you might want to consider getting one. Of course, if you have little children, you want to be more careful, or if you have family members that are klutzes, just don't let them use it. I think I said the blade comes off for washing. If you have any questions, just let me know below. Take good care, folks.